Good evening, join us for the next hour as we've got lots to talk about on the show with a brand new panel. Two members have come back that we haven't seen for a while. Find out who they are. All that on this week's Loose. Keeping you entertained for the next hour is Claire Browning-May. Hi. You are two panellists that haven't been on for a while but are back. One of them is Mike Curtis. And the second one is our very own Kerry Gillespie. As we share this week's topics about baby language, it's actually been in the news this week. Do babies have their own language? So we talk a little bit about that, but we also talk about parent guilt. Is it not talked about? And is it still a taboo subject? Also, we talk about Lincoln Christmas Market as it's been in the news this week, about fights to close the market down, but public are fighting back. But is this another kick in the teeth for small businesses? Also, we finish on the subject of takeaway food as a rating has gone right down. But when you order takeaway food, is it really important to you, the rating, or are you just ordering food for the sake of it? All that and a hell of a lot more on this week's Loose Links. Good evening, panel!
Good evening.
Hi, how are we doing? Hello, Claire Browning-May. It's been such a long time since we've seen you. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Mr. Nick.
You're doing well. Mr. Mike Curtis, have we seen you this year?
No, I don't think you have this year, have you?
No, did you have
Happy
a nice
New Year.
New Year? Did you have a nice
Yeah, I did, thank you.
Good.
I did, thank you.
Good. It's good to have you back. And Miss Gillespie, I don't think we've seen you this year either.
Thought was off the hook.
But definitely not. And Kerry, you're another year older now, aren't you, as well? Another year older. I wouldn't say another year wiser, but another year older.
Yeah, I'm creeping up to you, aren't I?
100%. 26, I'm doing really well. I keep telling you, you don't need to share it. But I have started to look for appropriate care homes now for you. But I will visit you once a week. I promise I'll pop in and just visit you. But I'm being a true friend and I just can't stand the smell of wee anymore. So I thought I need to start to look to put you in a home.
Why do I even agree to this?
She absolutely loves it. We are going to start on something serious this evening. We send out our condolences as it's been announced on the news today about Nicola Bulley. We send out our condolences to her friends and family. It has been announced in news today that her body was found. We dedicate the show to Nicola and we send lots of loose love out to anybody there that knew her or was aware of her. But this week, ladies and gents, we start on quite a strange subject. Baby language, as it's been announced in news this week, in news. This is what shocks me. This is a full news article about babies having their own language and communicating with each other that the human adult ear does not understand, but a baby ear does. Ladies and gents, are you even shocked that this story is even on the news?
Why not? Why not? I mean, we didn't know that before, and now they're telling us that. The animals, they talk to each other, and if your name's Dr. Dolittle, you talk to the animals. But, you know, why can't they? You know? Stop it, Mr. Nick. Honestly, they gabble along, and we don't know what they're saying, and we go, ooh, and they're probably looking.
me though, Claire, what baby has come forward and gone, we speak our own language? Can I just let you know that we speak our own
Well, you
language and speak
you
to
need
each
to ring the paper and ask them where they got the news from.
other? Got
Which
this
babies
from?
said that?
Does it shock you, Miss Gillespie, that a story like this has made it into the paper?
I think it's quite interesting, is it? Because there must be sounds, isn't it? It must be sounds that they recognise and not where you'd understand this more than me, wouldn't you, Nicholas? Aye, the way you gaggle on all the time.
Gaggle on.
Yeah,
Well, you have to get one in, don't you, Carrie? You
Yeah.
always have to do it.
always. I don't know what to make of it. I read it, to be honest. I don't know. It's quite interesting. There probably is some truth in it. I think it must be noise and certain ways that babies make their noises that they understand it. Don't know.
Well, let's get into real subject. Mike, do you think we judge ourselves far too much when it comes to where we think? So, take you've got a nephew or a niece, for example, and you've got parent friends. Do you think people judge themselves too much on where they think their children's development should be, and they criticise themselves if they're not at the point where they think their children should be?
Well, firstly, Nick, is there ever a show you don't bring me on that has some sort of social connotation to it? I couldn't believe it when I got this. I thought, all these months off, Kerry and Claire, and I'm back on talking about parenting. I feel like Nanny McPhee. So, dare say I look like her. Anyway, so no, not really. I find this a bit of a bizarre story. When we had to research this, I weren't sure if this was some sort of code for a kink or something at first. So, no, I don't think parents do judge themselves. And in terms of sort of understanding their children's child development, I think most parents have a good understanding of what their children are communicating with them and where they sit. So, no, not really.
Well, I slightly disagree. Well, I think parents do, and I think, well, I'm not a parent myself, but my sister's a parent, and I've got a nephew. I know. I don't think it comes from early years. There's two parents on the panel, isn't there? I don't think it comes from early years. I think there's a lot of judgmental glances on children when they hit nursery. So I think there's a lot of parent, well, my child does this now, my child does that, and my child does the other. And then it gets parents thinking, well, why ain't my child doing that? And I know my sister has felt that. I know my sister's stood outside, because Freddie, I'm quite happy to say it, Freddie's talking development isn't where it should be for a 2-year-old. But I've said to Katie, that's just his development. He's just being a child. That's all he's being. It'll naturally come when it comes. But she says the weight of the judgmental parents in the nursery that go, oh, not talking yet. He's not having a conversation yet. He's not saying words. I think. Do you agree? Let's go to you, Claire. Do you agree that you felt more heavy as a parent when other parents and other children got involved?
They do. They do it to where I am. My kids went to the school where I work, and so I've had it. And both my children, like myself, have not been that blessed. We're blessed with beauty and not brains. But it has always been out there. Sorry, I'm trying to think when the brain's gone dead now.
I'm putting you on the spot, Claire.
No, you're not. What I'm trying to say is, in this day and age as well, we're finding that a lot of children are behind due to, well, we're saying it's due to lockdown. Because a lot of them, and like I say, I'm not naming any names because I don't know none, but they were put in front of screens. That's all they've done. You look around and what do you see? A baby in a pushchair sat up with a phone or a gadget, And so when it's come to them now interacting at nursery or at school, some of them haven't got that because they probably weren't spoken to at home because I don't know what the parents were doing, but they're just given a gadget, but going back to the judgmental bit, and it's for me, I find it's always been there and it always will. And I think not so bad when they get to secondary school, because as a parent, you don't see the mums and that as you do on the school run, because the kids usually go on their own. But I found that there's a lot of compare children to children, but like you say, they will develop when they're good and ready. Potty training, is there a certain age that they should be? We've got children in nappies. It's not ideal, but like they say, they learn it different. We've got non-verbal children, so is that due to a condition? Is it due to lockdown and like I say, not being and spoken to? But I think it's rather cruel that other parents do judge, because it's not fair. You get on with your life, I'll get on with mine, type of thing. And in this day and age as well, it is cruel, and we should be helping each other, not judgmental.
That's the end of that subject then. Terry, let's go to you. When it comes to parent guilt, have you ever felt it as a parent?
No.
You've not?
No. I'm just going to touch on what Claire was. What would I feel guilty about?
Well, the thing is, a lot of working parents now will state that actually they feel parent guilt because they've had a child and they've gone straight back to work. But the reason I like your answer, and I'm not disagreeing with it, that actually when it comes to parent guilt, a bit like, well, no, I can't.
I don't feel guilty with being a working parent because I wanted to work. I was a working person. I wasn't a sit-at-home mum. And from my personal experience, it done my children from a very young age really well, socialising, that kind of aspect of thing from a very young age. I wanted to touch on what Claire was saying about when parents, other parents commenting on other kids and that. I'd knock anybody out if anyone commented on my kids' development. And I think the only people that you really need to be listening to are the teachers or the the creche workers, the nursery workers on your child's development. Claire said it perfectly, really, is that every child is very different. It'll happen and it happens at different times. But now you listen to the teachers, you listen to the nursery teachers and stuff like that, not other parents, because you've got other parents that are really competitive. And I'd be competitive in the ring with them, but that's about it. Do you know what I mean?
In terms of parent guilt, though, I mean, that there's different elements, isn't it, that triggers it. So, obviously, you're talking about there, Kerry, where, you don't feel guilty. And that's your prerogative, that's your view. But there are times, aren't there, where there's natural circumstances where parents might feel greater guilt through, let's just take it simple. The working mum now, I mean, I'm a massive supporter of that process. I'm not saying it's for everyone, and it's cool if somebody wants to stay at home, they want to stay at home. And I understand the importance of spending time with your children in them early years if you can. Some women can't, some men can't. But actually, if there's something really significant and you have got that working career, sometimes there are balances, aren't there? The school play or things like that that do get missed. And that's what I mean. I do feel sometimes for parents, because I think in particular single parents where they might not have a lot of support around them, they're giving everything they can give to their child. I'm not saying that there's any particular problem or concern, but there's sometimes natural things that happen in life.
I think that's your circumstances, because obviously I'm not in Liverpool anymore. My family are in Liverpool, and I've been very lucky with my jobs. I've not miss things like that for school. I've always made time. I've took leave. I don't take leave for myself with my job. I take leave to work around the kids. The only time I'd say I ever feel guilty, do you know what, is because of work, is if I've sat on my bum on a Saturday and not done anything with them. That's the only time I'll feel guilty, because I think I've been working hard at work, the kids have been hard at work at school, working hard at school, and they haven't done anything. That would be a guilt thing for me. I should have done more. Sometimes just physically can't do it, and I just need that lazy day, if you want to call it. But
I
it's very different for each parent, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm just thinking like of some of my friends where like, they've decided to have the career and have the kids, and they've really tried to climb high in the career. Good for them. I do believe you can have both, but then they've said like, honestly, Michael, oh, I were late to this, or there was that because, my work's a good employer, but I have that responsibility and I had to finish that task, which meant I were late. And I can see how probably more so than the earlier conversation, how parents can be triggered with guilt. I'm not saying that, it happens for everyone and there's a particular concern, but I do think the working parent has a lot of challenges they have to face in working, a lot of challenges in staying at home. It's a double-edged sword, isn't it, really? But I do think, there's a lot of support out there now. Employers are being more inclusive, aren't they, to parents in the round?
More flexibility, isn't there? More flexibility. And I think with COVID and being able to work from home, that was recognised quite a lot throughout a lot of sectors, wasn't it, really?
I mean, you see now flexible working agreements, don't you? So, this is, you're right, it all comes from that, really.
And the other thing that clicked into my head, Carrie, about is you've come across as a very, very strong parent. And I'm not saying it's weak parenthood at all, but some people will really take on what other people say about their children, and it can affect them, and it can affect them massively. Now, you've said, understandably, that if another parent said to you, Kerry, you're not doing this right, and why isn't your child doing that, and that you would defend it. Would it be very, very different though if a family member said that to you? So if a family member said, Kerry, I don't like what you've just done there as a parent, would you take that more on board than maybe somebody in a playground saying something to you?
I'm very stubborn. I am, and I know what I'm like. I think whether it was my mum saying it to me, or say for instance, my mum saying it to me, I'd be like, "You've had your chance with me. You've had your chance. You've had your chance paying at me, mum." So, I'd take it on board, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'd change the way I parent at all. I'd always take an opinion. If you said something to me like, I don't think you should have said that, Kerry, or done that, then I would take that on board. And if I felt after that I shouldn't have been like, oh, shouldn't have said that, or shouldn't have done that, I'd apologise to my kids.
And that's massive. It's
because, well, they've got to understand. My kids understand that if you're wrong, as hard as it might be to say I'm wrong and I feel a bit of a prat, they certainly know that. I've said sorry to my kids before, especially if I've just lost it and I've just shouted or something like that, because we do as parents. Anyone that comes on here and says they don't shout, they do, because everybody loses it once in a while, just over the silliest things, like you've spilt a drink, my God, now I've got to clean it up, something like that. I'll reflect on something like that, and I've apologised to the children before.
And I think it depends on what sort of relationship you've got with somebody as well, isn't it? Because my example is my best friend. So I've known my best friend 20 years this year. And I've watched him have both children, and I've watched him this, that, and the other. And I know that if I said, and I've never had to, but if I said to him, I'm not going to name him, but Michael, his name, let's just take his name as Michael. But I said, Michael, bad name to use tonight, isn't it, Mike, really? Let's call him Jeff. Jeff, I don't like the way you've done that. I know he would take that on board, and he would go, oh, right. He might question me about it. He might say, well, what did you think I did wrong? But I know he would take that on board. But you can't do that for everybody in life, though, can you? Like, the amount of times I've been in town and you watch a parent lose the plot in the centre of town and scream at their child, and you think, well, I would never do that. But actually, you don't know till you're in that situation, do you?
Exactly. No. Like I've said many a time on many a subject, don't judge someone unless you've been, in through their footsteps. And I think that's the same with parenting. Right or wrong, you know, if it comes to harming the child, then of course you step in. If not, then it's just just a learning curve, isn't it? You know, children are tired, parents are tired. Like say, are they working? Have they been up all night? And you know, a kid's kicking off, and you do lose it. Oh, many a time in a supermarket. I'd love to have done that advert where you just lay on the floor next to him and just have a paddle.
I've done it. I've done it with Freddie. I've laid in the middle of the supermarket.
And did he get up?
I've been that uncle. But tell us what you guys think. Remember, you're the fifth panel member out there. Do you think babies really do have a babbling language for each other? Do you ever feel parent guilt? Or are you a bit of a tough cookie like Kerry and just say what you want? But as we move forward onto a subject that we all seem to be guilty of, talking about guilty, we talk about mobile phones. As over 80% of the UK adults own a smartphone, and that as helpful as it can be, they can also be incredibly distracting. Most of us are on them for over 3 hours a day. Evidence suggests that the time we spend buried in these pocket-sized computers can affect our sleep, our mood, and our productive day. Going phone-free, even short periods each day, has surprisingly big benefits. It can increase your attention and reduce achiness, pains, and improve posture, enhance your social life, and boost your happiness. So one hometown has made a cafe, we won't name who the cafe is, but a cafe that's a phone, I can't even speak tonight, can you tell I can't speak? A free phone zone where you I can't say it, where you cannot use your phone at all. You're not allowed to use it. Ladies and gents, do you think this is something that could be massive in years to come? Do you think this is the way forward to have a free phone zone? I don't.
Well, totally, yeah. I mean, how they're going to do it, I don't know. But like, say, you come into the cafe, you can't put your phone on. But you go to a restaurant or say a restaurant, you know, a family-friendly restaurant, and you look around, I bet they're all on the phone, the mum, the dad, and the kids. And I'm not saying all of them. Do you know what I mean? As in each family's the same. And they're supposed to be going out for a family meal. And I bet they get it at the dinner table at home as well. You know, they should be banned, as in at home, your rules, you know, no phones at the table, as in no TV. I mean, you know, as you get older and your teenagers, they want to sit up with the tray on the knee, but no, it is going to get worse. And, you know, like you say, we're just literally attached to this gadget, but the kids get attached to it. I mean, you know what me and technology are like. Well, you know, you see babies in pushchairs and they're like that, you know, and if I don't know how to work one, I could just pass my phone to a toddler and it will go, and they've done it. Well, you know, so, you know, and how long have mobile phones been out? Not that long. So you think in another, say, 20 years, where are we going to be? And it's scary. It's scary for my grandchildren that I've not had yet.
If we go out for meals or anything like that, we take a pack of cards.
Oh,
yeah, always if me and the kids go out, they do go on the phone while we're waiting for food and that, but we always take a pack of cards, which we play card games until our order comes, so we're not on our phone. I don't mind them having a little go on the phone, but we do stuff like that instead.
that's lovely. That, I mean, I do think we've all become codependent on our mobile phones. You know, I think I certainly couldn't sit here and say that that's not something I do, because it is. And, you know, I think you were right, Claire, and that's why it's so nice what you've just said, Kerry. But what you were saying about, you know, people looking on the phones, it's even a source of conversation now, isn't it? Oh, this is on social media, or that's on this app, and have you seen this, and have you seen that photograph? Should we take a photograph? You know, they become sort of more centered now, aren't they? And if you look at kind of what I find really crazy, any sort of like studies that sort of schools do around sort of like team teach or sort of behavior management, they're sort of saying now that like taking a child's phone off them is a major trigger, and actually it's something that there are multiple other things that could have been done, where actually when I was a child, it didn't have that much impact. Well, it did, it was a consequence, but it wouldn't have been this big drama and distress that it is now, because everything's lived through the mobile phones. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because when I didn't get mobile phone till I was about sort of like 17, 18. They went out when I was younger. If I'd done anything wrong, I'd be grounded. I couldn't play out. I was distraught with that. It wasn't a mobile phone, it was playing out. And now you look at the amount of times young kids do play out, it's not as often. Like, I'd be out every day after school and on the weekend. It's just not like that now. But then again, it's parents. Parents have got to have a little bit of to do with that, haven't they?
Well, also, I think I don't want to just point it at kids either, because I think we're guilty of it as adults. So if we go out for a meal, like if we go out for a meal, if we're doing that, everything is now on the mobile phone, into everything: your email, your social media, your contacts, your text, your WhatsApp, your Facebook, your Instagram, everything is on it.
But
And
also, Nick, what you can do, you go to a restaurant and you can order your meal.
Yeah, you can
put your
order on the
phone number in,
phone.
or
You can do all
put
that now, can't you?
It's like, what?
But have you ever, has anybody ever brought it up to you? Has anybody ever said to you, you're always on your bloody phone, will you get off your phone? Has anybody actually said that to you? Go on, Kerry, go on, tell us.
My mum still tells me off that I never answer my phone when she rings, because I'm hardly on my phone in the day. Or early evening, I'll very rarely be on my phone, and she tells me off for not answering a call. Not that I'm ignoring you, Mum, by the way. I'm actually not ignoring you. It's just that I'm not on my phone. The time I'll go on my phone, which is one of the worst times for me, is when I'm in bed.
Yeah.
And I'll sit, and I've got a guilty pleasure. I don't do all these like apps. Facebook I probably did, and a couple of others I did. But then the kids got into TikTok, and I get so infatuated with TikTok. I'll get in bed and I'll be on it till 1 o'clock.
Very, very addictive.
Because there's so many daft buggers on there. I love it. I just love watching these videos, because I'd never do anything like that. But yeah, I get so drawn in, and because they're like a couple of seconds long, you're like, yeah, that's funny. That's it. Time just goes. So I know it can be very addictive. Extremely. So you can imagine what it's like for kids. But then again, with kids, it's parenting. You should understand, if you're addicted to it that easy, your kids are going to be.
I read a study, which is why they're so short, because it is designed exactly that. It's measured on somebody's attention span. So that's why it becomes more addictive. And that's why it can be only set. There's a whole study on it. And it's really clever, really. And that's how it hooks so many people. Because you're right.
That is the right word, hooked. I just thought it was a silly app, but honest to God, some of the stuff I've seen on that, man, has had me in pleats of laughter, and I just keep going back for more. Especially this lad on it called Nicholas someone. He keeps putting these videos on, and I keep going, oh my God, oh my God, I'm glad I'm not him.
But honestly, yeah, she's one of these people that loves TikTok. I go, Kerry, let's do a TikTok video. No, I am not doing a TikTok. No, I am not. I tried to make her do that. Have you seen the Sprite challenge one, where you've got to drink a bottle of Sprite without burping? I was like, Kerry, let's do that. She was like, do you know who I am, Nicholas? Why would I do a video like that?
That's one of the ones I'd do with you, because I wouldn't mind burping all over the video. I wouldn't do all these corny things.
But Mike, have you ever been accused? Has anybody ever said to you, Michael, get off your phone?
Is that what you think, Nick, when you see me on social media all the time? Is that what you subtly imply? Yeah, obviously. There's no point even lying. I'm not even going to lie when I'm doing this all the time, because I am one of them people that will go out and will just sit on my phone and stuff. It's really bad. And I think for me, work is probably one of the biggest distractors, because it's just kind of, it's not that we can't have our phones out, but I'm just generally that busy. So it's like a good distractor, if that makes
Mm.
sense. But as soon as I'm with people socially, I do, yeah, instantly go straight onto it. And it's yeah. So yeah, in a nutshell, I was slightly cringing when the question
do
came
you
up.
think though? Do you think when it? This is where Carrie will go really quiet. I know she will. But when you know, when it comes to relationships, like proper relationships, do you think it can destroy a relationship, especially if you're starting to get to know somebody? There are a lot of nights now. You see one parent sat at one end of the sofa and the other parent sat at the other end of the sofa, and they're both on the phones, like, and the children are on their iPads and stuff like that. Do you think it's actually breaking down communication between families because we're that obsessed about a screen and talking to one another about what sort of day we've had?
I don't think it's about, sorry, I don't mean to interject everyone. I don't think it's about the screen. I think you're talking about the internet and how it provides people with vast opportunity to do different things, doesn't it? And talk to lots of different people, and it can feel really intense, kind of. Again, it's that whole sort of, I forget, there's it's like there's an actual term. So, you know, the idea of like text bouncing backwards and forwards, again, that sort of, it creates that endorphin because it's like fast paced, if that makes sense. You know, it's really, really interesting when you look at it. Because anyway, so my point is, I think it's more that than a screen. Does that make sense? Because I always think about like my grandma, for example. I mean, bless her, she's passed away now. She had like a proper brick thing, bless her, when she passed away about 4 years ago. But she often like says to me, we didn't have, like, me and your granddad didn't have access to, like, you know, there was a phone at the end of the street. So if we had an issue in our relationship, we had to talk. You know, I don't think they didn't even have, I think they had like channels 1 and 3 or something, like, I don't even know. You know, I'm speaking, you know, in the 40s and 50s and 60s, you know, the world was so different, wasn't it? I think it gives people the opportunity to, if I'm really honest with you, cheat much easier.
Oh.
Because there's multiple dating websites, isn't there? You know, talk to people, flirt and banter and all that jazz.
Right,
And
left, right.
Nick,
yeah,
burn a phone. Burn a phone. Who's got one of them?
No, I haven't got a burner phone, Claire. I've got a work phone.
Sorry, I meant two phones. One for work.
I
one
really
for
have
personal.
not got a burner phone. Can I just make it
I
sound
know
like
that.
I have not?
No, he
Got a
hasn't.
burner
He
phone.
hasn't. I'm joking. But that is my thing as well, you know. Oh God, there's a program. Oh, if you watch Coronation Street, Roy Cropper. Anybody?
no.
Well, you know Roy. He's in his little cafe, and he loves his trains. Anyway, his niece has told him to get a phone because he's in this chess club or something. Well, he's now obsessed with it. He literally, every time it goes, he's like that. He's on it, and he has it in his pocket. So it can convert the most.
But you could be a little Roy Cropper, could you?
I'm going to call Cropper in a minute.
Sorry for that. I apologise
I'm
for
not.
that language.
I'm not sorry, viewers.
But let's go round the panel. So last question of the thing. Claire, if I said to you, I'm taking your phone off you for 24 hours, would you be distressed?
Once the word distress, no, it depends on what day you take it off me. You know, because like Mike, I'm at work, I only have it on my lunch break and that, because you are busy, so you don't need it. But again, it's a habit. If you are at home, you'll probably just go, oh, where's my phone? Because you want to look at social media, you want to see what other people are doing and feel even more depressed than you were when you sat down. You know, it is more that type of thing than that you want to ring somebody or that. It is like just keeping connected by nosiness.
What about you, Kerry? If I took your phone off you for 24 hours, would you be distressed?
I wouldn't be stressed, but it's a massive communication part in my life for me. If I was still on a home phone, I wouldn't speak or communicate with anyone. And I like sending a little text to my mum or my dad or the kids during the day. It's just nice. I like that.
What about you, Mike?
Yes, you would, Mike. Yes, you would.
Yeah. I'm trying my hardest. Yeah. I wouldn't say I'd have like a mental breakdown, but I would have to understand why you need to take my phone off me at 35. And then we'd have to have a discussion about the time frames for why when you're giving me it back, and then what day of the week it is. And then I'd be thinking, well, am I going to be able to do a selfie again? Does anyone want to see the 1001 selfie of me just posing again on my own in front of a different coloured background? So it's yeah. I would probably be a bit itchy.
Would you ever do? There's an app now, isn't there, though, about screen time and how long you are on your phone for. It calculates how many hours you are on your phone for. Now, if you were forced to go on that screen time app and it told you that you were on it for 7-8 hours, would it make you put your phone down a little bit more, or would you think, I don't care, I'll be on it for 10?
I have it to try and sway me off. Because it does say that, yeah, you've been back.
So the answer is, Nick, no, it wouldn't do a little dingle dangle, because it's just like, oh, I must have had a bit of time free then.
You're right, Claire. That's how I look at it. I think, oh, an extra 7 hours in one day. I've been bored today.
Oh, dear.
I'm thinking on quite a bit tonight, but we've talked about like we don't touch your phones at work. We don't touch your phones. Well, that really isn't long for Kerry, because she starts at 9 o'clock and finishes at 10 past.
I told you, I've got a very flexible job.
Finishes at 10 past 9.
You're a cheeky monkey. I work very hard. Thank you very much, Nicholas.
But tell us what you guys think. Do you think we are too much on our phones? Do you think it does destroy communication? And do you think phone-free zones, I can actually say it now, phone-free zones are a good thing for the future? Tell us what you think. So we move on to the City of Lincoln. We actually talk about a city tonight. The City of Lincoln are going through a consultation of getting rid of the Lincoln Christmas market. So city businesses and traders say they still believe that the Lincoln Christmas market can be saved. Around 100 people gathered at the county assembly rooms on Thursday evening to discuss a possible solution, from wristbands to separate the market. They want the council to pause and consider other options before a decision whether to end the popular event is taken on Monday. The City of Lincoln Council say the event has become uncomfortably busy and proposes spending the budget on a series of smaller events across the calendar. Rachel Whitaker has led the opposition to the plans and will be taking business concerns to the council leader, Rick Metcalf, on Friday. There has been a massive support for the Christmas market. People love it and don't want to see it go away, she has said. So, panel, what's your opinion on the Lincoln Christmas market, and would you be glad to see it go?
Well, for the City of Lincoln, it's a good thing. I mean, okay, if it's becoming dangerously busy, then, why not do it over 2 weekends, or, do it more days? And if they need to condense it a bit, so, there's not so many stores there. But how marvellous for the City of Lincoln, because I bet a lot of people that do come to it don't just go to the market, they'll go to the cathedral, they'll have a look around. So for them to literally get rid of it, I just think, no, and especially the market holders, I bet you that's a real good busy time for them. So really, they just need to look on how to not make it as busy. So therefore, maybe spread it over longer days, but not get rid of it. It's a lovely market. I like it. Doesn't do my legs no good though, not rolling down that hill, but yeah, it's nice.
How many days is it on?
Not sure.
4.
Is it 4? 4
Because it
days.
has got crazy, hasn't it, the last few years? I mean, I think the pandemic stopped it, didn't it, for a little while, but I'd got friends, it was on last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'd got friends that went and said it was crazy. You know, there were no, I think when you think of like, I mean, it's been a few years since I've been to the Christmas market, but I remember it being a really nice event, busy, but nice and festive. It definitely were busy then. You know, I remember thinking, oh God, I want it much more busier. But I know last year, a few people that I know have been and said it was just, you were like sardines. You couldn't move around and do all them things that you were saying, Claire. So I do think there's like you say, if they could, I can't understand why they would lose something so popular, because it's not just Lincoln, is it? People Lincoln or Lincolnshire that come. There's people from neighbouring.
Yeah, totally. And enough people
counties.
from around the world come,
Yeah.
you know, because it is such a big market. So, you know, they're going to lose loads. They just need to work out, you know, at how many stores or where they hold it, I suppose. I don't know. But to get rid of it, I just think it is not nice.
Where is it spread out now?
Well, I don't want to sound like a Grinch, so I'm really trying hard not to sound like
You
a
are.
Grinch.
Go on,
But
Mr. Grinch.
I would be quite happy to see it go.
Of course you would. Do you go?
Because only because I'm not a massive Christmas fan. I've never been a massive Christmas fan, but
Didn't you buy stuff at the Christmas market, Nicholas?
I do buy stuff.
Shut
at
your
Christmas
face.
market.
Shut your face.
But the thing is, and I get why they plant it where they plant it. So they plant it, the castle, the cathedral, Balegate, Westgate, they plant it all around there. And I get why they plant it all around there, because the cathedral is massive in Lincoln. People don't want to draw people to the cathedral, to the castle, to Uphill, and all of that. But actually, when I think about it, and I've worked for local authority before, but when I not in that department, but when I think about it, I have gone through and gone, why aren't we doing this downtown, where there's a massive space? It's near the bus station, it's near the train station, there's a lot more space. Everybody isn't going to feel like sardines. We can spread out a little bit more.
Because that's where the majority of other cities do their Christmas market. When Lincoln's got something very different, not everywhere's got that, and not every little or big city can have a Christmas market around something which is very picturesque. I went to the Christmas market last year. I went on the Thursday. It wasn't that busy. It was all right, and it was just lovely. It's a lovely little environment. If it was down by Wilko's, really? No. I know I like Wilko's, please. I'm not against Wilko's. I shop at Wilko's, but why have it somewhere? Why have it somewhere like that around now?
Because if you think about, I know it's not the same event, but if you think about Pride in Lincoln, Pride started on the Brayford. Pride started on the Brayford, but it moved last year to down the high street in a massive space because it just got unsafe. It got unsafe to be on the Brayford anymore.
So the Christmas market just needs to be maybe spread over more days, maybe from the Monday, 5 days in the week. So if people want to go and they want to take a day leave from work, or and the kids are in school, take them then, so it won't be as busy on the weekend.
Well, I don't know if that would work though, Kerry, because I think
thank God you don't work in that.
Thank
God you don't work in that department, Nicholas, because it's not your bloody decision, is it?
Yeah, but if I was coming to the Lincoln Christmas market, there's no way I would take a day's leave to come to the Lincoln Christmas market. I would still come that weekend, no matter what, if it was Monday to Friday.
But that's unique.
You don't like the market.
That's a local person's point of view.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Like you say, it's that busy.
You don't appreciate where you come from and what you've got here.
It's that busy over 4 days. It's because people do come from far and wide. So like they do it.
They set up a one-way system. Well, no one followed the one-way system last year. Everybody was just like, we'll go this way, we'll go that way. There was no one-way system.
I kept turning back to the food stalls and at once the alcohol stall. That was the only time I turned round. I didn't go round. I just.
But Kerry, when you go on the Saturday, you are not telling me that you are getting to every store and
Nicholas,
doing everything that's there. on
Did you
Christmas
listen
market.
to what I said? I went on Thursday, not Saturday.
But for the people that can't go on it on
Right.
a Monday to
You're
Friday,
getting a little bit ratchy because your voice is raising.
No, what they need to do then is a year in advance is book it off with their employer, saying
Yes.
I'm
Oh.
going to the Lincoln Market on
but what
Thursday.
if you don't have a choice but to go on the Saturday? And when you do go on the Saturday, or you go on the even on the Sunday, the day that it closes, even on the Sunday, you don't see anything. You can't get to a stall. You're stood behind about 50 people waiting to get round one stall. You can't see anything.
If you went on the Ferris wheel, you'd see everything.
You know what? Shut up, Kerry.
Nick, Nick,
What do
Right.
you think? Right, you're very quiet. What do you think of the Lincoln Christmas market?
I was just going to let Claire, is there something you wanted to say
no,
whilst these
no,
two are...
he's trying to shut me up, Mike. You go and I'll save it. Go on.
I'm a little bit, I don't know what to say tonight. I feel a little bit stunned. I think
Sandwich
would-
between the women.
yeah, I think I feel I'm a bit like you, Claire. I would probably well, I'd book the day off to go. That's how I previously went. So I don't really see what the big barrier is about.
Go on, Mike. Do your normal. I agree with Kerry. Go
No,
on.
because
do
it's not about agreeing with anyone. It's just about, I just think if you want to go,
No, Mike, it is.
you'll book the-
Mike, it is about agreement. Just agree with me. Agree with
Right.
me.
Right, Nick, right? The Christmas market is definitely going ahead. Okay, you're planning it. What would you do to make it more safe?
Send it
You're not-
downtown.
You would do that, would you? And would you
Send it
think
downtown.
would you think that all your followers would be happy with that?
Yeah, well, yeah. If you want me to run Christmas market, I'm actually voting for Anton Deck to run it this year. But if you want the Christmas market, I would completely send it downhill because there's more space.
But you're
No,
sat there.
all I can see is, has anyone ever seen Scrooge when all them people are running around and he's got that top hat on and they're asking for turkey and stuff and he's shouting out the windows, go away and
Yeah.
stuff at the start. I just think, Nicholas, what is this about? I'm a bit more stuck on that.
Totally. He is Scrooge. That's his new
I just
name.
received Mike's resignation from Luce.
Yes! Yes. It doesn't matter that I go off for 6 months, it still brings me back for a show.
I don't know where I was there now. If a bit of an option, someone said, has anybody watched that documentary, Gone Fishing? It's about two old men that travel the world, and the two actors, I can't remember the names, but I watched it for the first time at Christmas this year. Watched a Christmas thing. Watched it for the first time at Christmas this year, and they were sat in a room talking about, and it made me think. Oh, I wonder. And they said, "Do you think we would celebrate Christmas even more and even bigger if it wasn't every year?" So, for example, let me give you an example. It was once every 3 years we celebrated Christmas Day.
How are we talking about Christmas in February, Nick? How is this a
Are you
topic?
talking Christmas or are you talking like, so we're only having Christmas once every 3 years? So does that mean the Christmas market only comes once every 3 years?
Yeah, once every 3 years.
Well, no,
Every
because people will
Christmas.
want it and they've missed it and they'll all come in the droves.
Yeah, but how isn't that a bit of an option if you think about it? Actually,
No, I'm not
you
thinking
don't
about
have
it
to
because
do
it's not an
presents,
option.
You don't have to do Christmas dinner.
Look,
you don't.
he's
have to
got his fingers out. He's counting now. It's getting
No,
serious.
no,
It's getting
No,
serious.
because even if it's not Christmas, we can still have Christmas dinner.
But what do you think, Terry? If I said to you, there's an option now that the government
No,
has put in that we're
no,
not doing.
I've
We're doing.
had Christmas.
Come to the sentence.
No, I've had Christmas my entire life every year, and I'd like to continue still having Christmas every year for the rest of my life.
Say like you hadn't. say like it's always been every 3 years, do you think we would celebrate Christmas even bigger and better because it's not there every
That's
single
just, that's a
You want
silly
to do it now,
question.
Nick? Let's go back in time.
Why
What
do
is
I feel
Christmas
like I'm
all
being
about?
bullied tonight?
It's the birth of baby Jesus. You cannot make him be born every 3 years.
Yeah.
February, guys. February.
I know. Sorry, Mike. Sorry.
Can we not
Saying-
just? I am so excited for spring, let alone a long hot
Yes.
summer. As we all
Yes.
know, get us some big hat on and burn my face and all that jazz. Why are we talking about Christmas? This is just depressing. It really is. Nick, is there any any other 22 topics you want to discuss?
Mike suddenly turned into Anchor.
I thought that was something else you said then.
But tell us
Nick.
what you guys think. Do you? Well, Mike's ended that subject, so let me finish with the questions. Well, tell me what you guys think. If you could turn Christmas into every 3 years, would you? And would you be a happy person if you heard Lincoln Christmas Market was done, never to return? Tell us what you guys think, because your opinion just as important as ours. So please keep talking to us.
And more
So-
important than Nicholas's in some cases.
So we go on to the next subject, which is very related to Gary Gillespie, is that we talk about the dead. So we go forward by talking about there's a haunted pub in the UK that people are absolutely running to. It's been reported that there's ghost seeing, there's ghoulies. There's ghoulies and there's strange happenings while people are sat in this restaurant. There's a tall doll that walks out of a cupboard. People have seen. There's been ghosts. There's been eyes. There's been flashes of light. But that did get me thinking about the afterlife panel. So let's talk about something that everybody runs away from. Let's talk about the topic of death. Mike, this is why you are on this evening. I'd like to make you aware. This is why you are on tonight. But panel, do you believe in the afterlife?
I do. I'm actually, believe it or not, this probably doesn't surprise anyone, but I am massively into anything like that. I think
Have
it
you got
is.
time to be into anything when you're always on your phone?
Well, this is what I'm doing, you see, Kerry. I'm trying to photograph myself with the dead. So, no, it's, I think it's creepy. I mean, I did read the article. You're pleased to know, Nick. I know you don't think I read very much in my spare time because I'm on my phone. But basically, Amanda did read it by my phone, but we'll not get into that. I'm a bit with this whole doll thing. It's a little bit Annabelle-ish, isn't it? And I do honestly believe in the dead. I come from like a my family gonna kill me. We're not like sat around a fire chanting and everything else. But I would say that there is one branch of my family that's very sort of spiritualist and believes and things like that. So from a very young age, sort of been exposed to that. Sounding even worse as I'm talking. So what I'm saying is for me, I absolutely believe in an afterlife and spirits and bad and good presence. I don't know if I'm so much into like demonic demons and dolls that come alive and all that jazz.
What about you, Catherine? Do you think we go on to another world when we close our eyes to this one? Or get rid of the poet?
I'd like to think so, but I ain't seen any, and no one spoke to me. I don't nah. It's a nice thought to have. For me, it's a nice
Don't
thought
come
to
and
have
collect
that
me,
with
Kerry,
this-
will you? Don't come and collect me when it's my time to go. Don't go. Don't worry, Jesus. I'll go down and collect this one. Don't bother. Just wait for me up there.
Oh,
Since you're going upstairs, Nick, you might be going down.
Yeah, exactly.
Wherever
I was
you-
just, I
you're
was
going-
thinking that same thing. Who's going to be at the gate when you're on? You might go, hey, mucking here. Yeah.
What about you, Claire? Are you a believer of afterlife?
I believe I'm a believer.
There's a lot of songs tonight, isn't it? That's all I can hear. Downtown and things like that.
Yeah, I do. I mean, again, I've not seen anything or heard anything. Apparently, when I was growing up, we lived in a haunted house at the end of the street, and a few of my mum's friends have shot over the coffee table because they've seen something move past. And my mum even spoke to one. She went from one room door through the stairs, was there, and she said something, and then went through thinking it was my brother, and my brother was in the other room. So anyway, but yes, I personally haven't seen it, but anything, but yeah, I do believe, and like you say, like Kerry says, I don't believe in all the wrong ones, but like, you know, when these hunters go around different things, and they can tell, you know, why they are haunting the places, you know, some because they've been murdered, or, you know, happy and or sad ones, and they just want to, you know, be released. Who knows?
Do you think though it's one of those? Do you think it's still one of those to-do subjects that we avoid talking about still? Do you think death is still not a comfortable conversation within society? Do you think that we still hide from it, and actually we don't talk about it enough because we're too scared of it? We don't actually, well, I believe we do go on to an afterlife, but we don't actually know, do we? So do you think it's still a very much to-do subject when it comes to society and talking about death?
We can talk about it till the cows come home. It's like believing in a God. You know, there's lots of religions out there, and everybody talks to God, say for instance, or whoever, but who knows if there is a God? You know, and there's all these churches all over, and everybody dedicates their life. So the afterlife, I feel, is the same. How do we know until we go? Is there
It's a comfort? It's a comfort thing.
Yeah. Is there a Jesus and a God, and all that, those testaments and everything? Where did it all come from? But you know, when we do go, why do we go up? Why do we go down? You know, and why is the devil called the devil? And all that, I don't know. You don't know until you go, and I'm not going. Just otherwise, I'd come and tell you, Nick, and I'll haunt you.
But the other thing is, we do know Mike Curtis will be taking his phone for a selfie when he gets up there.
Oh, definitely.
To make sure he can send it back down again. But do you think in our lives, in our whole lives, so as I've stated so many times, I do have a faith, and I do go to church, and I do believe in what I believe in. But actually, there's a Sam Smith song which I think is amazing, and it's called can't remember the name of the song now. I will type up the name of the song this week, but it's all about death, and it's all about, there's lines in it that says something like, I don't believe in you, but I'm praying right now. It's so annoying. It'll come back to me as the subject goes on. But actually, does he have a point? So he comes across as an atheist on this song, but he also talks about everybody. It's called Pray. That's what it's called. It's called Pray. Sam Smith, Pray. And he states that everybody in their lives at some point prays. Do you agree with this? Go to you first, Mike. Do you think, have you ever been in a stage of your life where you said a prayer, even if you don't believe?
Yeah, I think everybody has, whether you pray it as a child at a Christmas event, or, you know, or you pray at a funeral, or, you know, yeah, I think my view is, I think everybody has. I mean, as I say, I said at the start, didn't I, that, you know, I come from a family that's quite spiritualist, not necessarily religious. You know, I believe I've had experiences with the dead. you know, and I've experienced things. But I also feel that maybe like that could have happened at times when I were really emotional, maybe during the bereavement. So you don't know if it's like your own way of coping with it, if that makes sense at the same time. But yeah, I think most people have. I mean, I often think to myself, I know it sounds really, really dark, but I always think about like the 9/11 situation with the planes and things, and a lot of people started praying, didn't they, and things like that. I think it's or you hear of sort of like people that pass and they ask to see a religious person to help them transition on. I think it gives people hope. I'm not necessarily saying, I mean, I am Christian, I'm not a practicing Christian though. I wouldn't particularly say I don't particularly go to church, etc. But yeah, so I think that answers your question.
What about you, Kerry? Have you ever had a point in your life where you've gone, do you know what? I just need to say a prayer.
I probably did when I was a kid. The only time I pray now is to win the lottery. I don't pray. The only time I will say, please God, just let me win, is when I've put a lucky dip on, and it's not happened. So how can I believe?
What about you, Claire? Have you ever said a prayer in your life?
Yeah. Like I say, I am Christian. I'm not. I don't practice it. Like I used to go to church quite a lot, and especially when I was newly single with the 2 children, I would take them because I've got a good friend and their family used to go. And I've prayed quite a lot. But you know, who knows what's out there? So I don't know.
Shocking, isn't it? But tell us what you guys think. Have you ever prayed in your life? Would you ever? Do you believe in the afterlife? Is it something spiritual or religious to you? Let us know what you think. Mike, I am going to finish the show tonight by saying you always say we bring you on for the great subjects that we have. But every time we're on, we never get to the final subject when you're on. Can I also mention that as well?
And the internet breaks up as well halfway
or
through.
something. Yeah, something happens.
So this probably won't actually go live, anyone. So I wouldn't get too excited. I've actually been on 25 shows, normally with Kerry, which must be I thought as soon as I saw Kerry pop up, oh my lord, this is never gonna. Something will go wrong tonight, and that'll be fate or karma or some evil demon interrupting that's connected to me.
The afterlife, they just don't like to. Honestly, we got to one point, and viewers don't know, but we got to one point where Mike had done like 4 shows and no show went out that Mike was in.
Yeah. And then you say, can you come and do an extra one, Mike? And I say, no, I'm off for 6 months now.
Yeah, I've done my stint now. So that brings us to the end of this week's show. Doesn't that hour go quick? It just magically goes quick. Can you thank my panel for this evening? Joining us, that seems to be always here and just can't get enough. That's Claire Brown in May. The selfie queen of tonight is Mike Curtis. And the Walking Dead is Kerry Gillespie. Join us next week. Thank you for joining us for this hour. Have a really lovely week, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. Take care. God bless, and we'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.